Oft.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that's a good thing.
It's true. I
Other
mean,
means you're a jerk. Just kidding.
what does?
No, it doesn't. It means it's ambition, leadership, resourcing.
Which one is that? How about? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well,
Probably yes.
well,
That's actually what I should be.
okay, but then which Divergent one are you? That was
I don't watch that show. I haven't seen that show.
Well,
That movie.
it's good though. It's still good. Great.
I haven't read the books either.
Intelligence, learning, wisdom.
There you go.
I think you would. Oh, for sure. I forgot what it's called. Okay, one second. Looking it up. Divergent.
I don't watch that.
Well, you should.
Yeah, I should.
I'm just gonna tell you which one you watch.
Isn't that like a? Well, never mind. I can't say that because Harry Potter's
Yeah,
even more.
don't worry about it.
I can't go to a theme park and enjoy Divergent, can I? Because isn't that about the apocalypse and all that stuff?
No.
Oh.
It's just like communism, like all the other ones.
And how it ends so great. Okay. I'm sorry. That's what's interesting. Everybody that hates history, we're apparently not paying attention to the history of that. I have a globe I'm bringing in, by the way. I have with USSR on it and a couple other things. So just as a reminder.
Speaking
All right.
of communism?
Huh?
Speaking of communism?
Speaking of communism, yes. All right. So today, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a relatively simple thing. Now, the only problem I have is today's just going to be about you guys doing the exit tickets, both 9-1 and 9-2 on your computer. And then if you have the ability to, now I don't know how your computers are working. Here's my only issue. My Mac, and I've been searching yesterday, I searched last night. Today I did as well. If anybody doesn't know, this Flash player is actually going away. And so after December, and it's supposed to still be live on everything until then. However, Chrome and Safari have decided to already block it. So what I wanted to show you guys, I cannot actually pull up right now, which was, about 2 weeks ago when I was going through this lesson, I could go on there and there was a job simulator application where you guys could go around and play with it, just kind of understand what you will experience if you have not already about how to fill it out. We are not doing number 11, okay, because that was about getting too much personal information. So just to let you guys know on this one here, if you want to click on it and look at this template, you can. Now, what this actually would be for you, if you wanted to download that template and keep it, this is a good reference point to what you would need to know every time you go in for an interview, okay? It's not like this stuff is, it's kind of like one of those things where when you guys get ready and you move on later in life, okay, you are trying to figure out and you have to have the pieces of information next to you. Like we talked about yesterday, if you don't have your social security number memorized, you should memorize it. Even though I know my second hour basically threw a hissy fit, Mr. Vega started it. Why do I got to know that? And I'm like, buddy, just remember, I don't need to know my social security. I'm like, all right, never mind. So he goes, why? I'll just leave it at home. I'm like, what happens if your house burns down? Then I'll get another one. And I'm like, okay. But we did have another student say, he'd asked, I don't have my social security number, my card, my parents lost it. What do I do? And if that happens, then you actually need to go down to the Social Security Administration office. However, it is actually closed at this time. And the only way to actually go to that office is to send personal information. Ladies and gentlemen, never send your original documents to anything in the federal government. They are garbage. They will lose everything. No offense to the federal government. I was a veteran. They were trash. They still are. Okay, so just so you know, which I find so ironic on so many different levels that some individuals want the government to take care of them. However, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody has grandparents and watches how they take care of them, it's boo-boo juju. Okay, so one of those things is just understanding with that. Okay, you want to know this information before you walk in. availability is always a big key thing for you, okay? Hopefully you guys all have a valid driver's license number. This is really why I didn't want to have this stuff. Technically, you were supposed to fill this out and have a peer review it, but I didn't want you guys to look up all this stuff and put your driver's license number down and have that out there, because that's your own personal information that really a peer doesn't need to know about. The other thing you would have here, it would be about your education information. What does that entail for you? If you went to multiple high schools like I did, you'd have to put maybe the 2 or 3 down, or you only put the 1 down that you graduated from. And then you would do your continuing education. Please know, okay, every employer will ask you, like we talked about yesterday, name, supervisor, description of responsibilities, okay? Hopefully you guys are going to be able to have your former employers contact them out of the good graces of you guys being awesome, okay? Hopefully you left under good circumstances like we had discussed yesterday. So if you want to fill that out and give it a heads up, you can. If not, ladies and gentlemen, just always remember what's going to be asked of you. Okay, last little piece here, and then this will be discussed later on as well. For today, and then that's it. It's a short day for me for talking, thank God. For you guys, it'll be just making everything up, and it's going to actually be me going back there and grading everything that was sent, because I know some of you have actually sent a lot of the assignments through to me, and so I appreciate that, and I will look at those when we get back. Once you guys actually get in there, and we're going to talk a lot about this kind of aspect later, about getting an interview tip. How many of you guys have ever actually went in on an interview? Okay, now how many of you guys enjoyed that experience? Did you have all the right questions? Did you do any research before you walked in? So, when was it? Did you get the job, James?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Supervisors, like, can you be here? I'm like, I've already get fired.
Where at? Where was that at?
McDonald's.
Okay, well, I understand that one. They're like, can you make it? Are you reliable? Yes. You're in. Sweet. Yes.
I got lucky at my last job because the owner was supposed to be there to interview me, but like, yeah, stay home and watch his kids. So his wife came in and she's like, I don't know any interview questions.
Oh, that's
She asked
good.
me what my favorite animal was. Yeah.
And you moved on? Well, that's good. See, those are the kind of, so you got lucky on that one, because that's good. I mean, like we had talked about, I will go over this more because later on in the lesson around 9-6, we'll actually go look for some job openings, and I'll show you guys to a couple of different websites, because this isn't about right now. Okay, this is about not your first job, really. For me, this is more about your first job in your career. First time you approach the situation and you walk in and you start saying to yourself, okay, what am I going to do here? Because we know that some of you are going to maybe stay in fast food. Some of you have been in it and say, hell no, I'm not doing this ever again. Some of you are going to want to go up in a manager or general manager area. Understand you're in the hospitality style business, okay? So for you guys, when you're in that area, just make sure you understand what it's like, okay? So a couple of the things, okay? Once we'll talk later, and you guys have already done it. We're going to do it as we go through this year a little bit. First, you have to master the art of a resume and a cover letter. Okay, if you've never done a cover letter, that's one where basically it is a way for you to present yourself to somebody before they even look at your resume. All right. Some of you may have created them, some of you may have not. The big thing is just making sure that you're always smart about everything that you do. And we'll talk about these later, so I'm not going to elaborate too much. But some tips would be to conduct research on the employer, if you know the hiring manager, and the job opportunity. Okay. Before I went to Gilbert Hospital, I knew they had just come out of bankruptcy the first time. And so when I sat down in the interview, one of the first questions the lady said is, you realize we just came out of bankruptcy? And I said, yes. I saw that you guys have settled your debt. You've come out. You've gotten a loan. Because that was a news article that was on AZ Central, and I was able to read it. Okay, so for you guys, wherever you're going, it shows that you really care if you can do it. when I went to Great Hearts, and I'll reiterate this in a couple weeks, which was the very first job interview I had. I had really never heard of, that's a charter school if you guys don't know, and I had never really heard of them too much. So I started reading up on it, how they started in Texas, as more of the person that started it wanted more of a traditional feel of what school used to be like, where you would go in and be a well-rounded individual and not so much the individual that started it felt that schools were starting to lean and indoctrinate kids. So he decided, all right, let's go back to what the foundation was supposed to be. And you can read that up and look it up yourself if you want, but that's kind of what it was about. Where it was more of a liberal art standard, where you would come in, you'd be a well-rounded individual when you leave. You'd learn all the different sociological, psychology aspects of it, and then you would graduate high school. Instead of sometimes there are, as much as I'd like to say, some people don't put their own feelings in this curriculum. I put my own beliefs into it, but I share both sides of every story. Some people I've heard are not that way. I know because teachers have confessed that they don't want their parents or students' parents listening in on their conversations when they're teaching their class because of how they badmouth things when history. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you teaching that class for then? For me, I'm like, I'm not afraid. It doesn't bother me. But if a teacher walks in and is afraid that if somebody from the outside were to really hear how they talk in the classroom, what is that? But that's a reality. I do know there are at least 2 teachers on this campus that feel that way. Okay, that if they were to live stream, or that was their biggest fear about doing the remote learning, that if they really heard what they said to students, they could probably get in trouble. And I'm like, well, you're just an idiot. For me, I say a cuss word here or there, I'm okay. All right. I mean, that's just the way I am. I blame it on the military. Review common interview questions as you guys go through and responses. There is a whole bunch of stuff, and we'll talk about that later. Dress for success. Plan the outfit that fits the organization and its culture. Okay? If you're going into a Starbucks barista interview, do not wear a 3-piece suit. Okay? You go in based on that culture. All right? You would dress according to where you're going. Okay? You want to strive for the most professional appearance you can accomplish. Like my daughter, even she works at Starbucks, they're not allowed to wear anything Halloween related. Like no cat ears, nothing like that. Okay, because she's like, can I not wear cat? No, that's not professional. She wore jeans last year on Halloween and got in trouble. Okay, so that was one of those things where they understand they want to do it, but over there, remember, it's always better to be overdressed than under. Wear clothing that fits and is clean and pressed. This one is clean is usually, but for some of you gentlemen in here, and even some of my fellow teachers, the word pressed, that's also known as get a damn iron, okay? If you don't have an iron some clothes, all right? Learn how to do it. There's nothing like walking in. I hate walking in with a wrinkled shirt, okay? So I actually do a couple different things to do that. Arrive on time, relaxed and prepared. Make good first impressions. Shake their hands. Say hello. Don't say, yo, what's up? Okay? Stuff like that. All right, we'll talk about that later. Be authentic, upbeat, and focused. Some of you have no problem with that. Authentic, upbeat, focused, confident, candid, and concise. The big key is quality of your delivery, quality and delivery of your responses. If you do a lot of, I don't know. It's like this. What the hell is that? Okay. They're going to look at you. Be quite honest. It's the grown person sitting there. Now, if the grown person's doing that, you should probably look at that person and say, why the hell are you the boss? And be scared. I'll be quite honest with that one as well. Okay. Because once you'll see a manager, maybe that they're in that position because of out of necessity and they don't belong there. If I've experienced that multiple times in the military. Make sure that you provide focused responses, showcase your skills, your linguistic abilities of speaking with an open mouth and dialect. It's hard with these face suffocators on. I don't know how it would work right now with a interview. because you'd have to talk, and some of you, we can barely hear you anyways, and you'd be like, what the? I have no idea what you're saying, okay? And me, I'm going deaf anyway, so I can't hear half the time now. And I'm like, no, it's true that students, somebody is talking, and I'm like, and I have to rip my mouth. What the hell did you just say? And then they will finally tell me because I can't hear what they're saying because they're mumbling. And it's on their lips like this, and yeah. Remember the importance of body language. That is one thing that takes time. If you have never learned how to read somebody's body language, as a teacher, I have developed that skill over the years. Okay, where I can tell when some of my students are really pissed or it's not their day, based upon how they're sitting, the body language, and the contextual way of they. Sometimes I completely miss, but sometimes I don't. Ask insightful questions, okay? They want you to be excited about this job. If you go in there and you just answer, and then they say, all right, do you have any questions for me? Don't just say, no, I'm good, because I've done that. Ask them, all right, what would be the next step of the interview process? Say, oh, maybe we're going to do this. All right, so when can I expect to be called back? Because I know I'm the best candidate you'll ever have. I mean, you could throw that out there and see what happens. What's with this silence? You never know until you try it. Overplay your hand, see what happens. Because maybe the manager will get a giggle out of that. Okay, where they'll be like a chuckle, but that's a good one. But you can present yourself as being overly confident. Why not? I know some of you don't think very highly of yourself, no offense, but some of you need to think like, okay, I got this. Make that job interview your B. You know how to finish that. Sell yourself and then close the deal. And then thank the interviewer in person, by mail, or in person, by email or poster mail. Most of you will do it. Thank them in person, and then I will always recommend, which we'll talk about later, sending them an email. Okay? Succeeding in job interviews takes research, practice, and persistence. The more effort you put into the prep, the more success you'll see in obtaining job offers, especially if you remember and follow these tips that were above. If you want to look at those tips again, you can later. And then we'll talk later on about my own personal experience as you're doing this and the struggles I had, the success I had, and then the ultimate failures that I had as well. Okay? Remember what you think. Answer those things. Okay? Later on, what I want to make sure you guys understand is we've talked about, and you guys, I've heard you as you come in and getting ready for a test next hour that some of you may have. It's all about your prep work and how you prepare for it. I highly recommend anytime you go into an interview in a place you really, really, really want to work at. And this is not like, okay, my mom and dad told me to get a job because I want to drive a car. This would be an organization or a company that would set you up for your future. Make sure you go in there strong, confident, and do some research. If you go in there willy-nilly, then ladies and gentlemen, why would you ever expect success? That's the problem I don't get. If you go in unprepared on an interview, should you expect success? The answer is no. Things aren't given to you when you become a grown-ass adult. Now, you might hear people say, why not me? Why can't I do this and that? Well, there's a reason for that. Okay? You could be the most underqualified candidate, yet you still get the job because you go in there with, some people have what's called an it factor. You guys know what that is? If you've never heard about it, look it up. Or sometimes you go into a certain area and organization and somebody just looks at you and says, all right, this person's more qualified. This one is too, but there's something about this candidate that walked in that I have a bad feeling that if I don't take that on that person, I'm going to regret it. Some people have that. Okay, if you present yourself like that, ladies and gentlemen, you can get most jobs of saying it would be a mistake if you don't hire me. And then they would say, why? Say, because this is what I bring to the table. And be honest with them, okay? You have to basically be an arrogant, you have to turn into me for a little bit. Be an arrogant asshole. It's true. Then you'll get that job. But I'm not arrogant. I just present that way outside. I work hard just because I know I'm actually the dumbest math teacher. I'll be fully honest with you on that one. Okay, everybody's like, hey, help me with geometry. I can do that. Algebra 2. Nope, I'm done. So that's it. I just know how to teach what I teach. And you go from there. All right, so today, guys, in about 40 minutes, so do me a favor and it's work on both of those exit tickets. They will close after today, 9-1 and 9-2. If you need a computer, I have an extra one you can borrow, extra. My computer I have, my school laptop, I can let you borrow that. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, one of the big keys with that is if you are done with all those assignments from the last week and the week prior, starting with the car, all the way up until the apartment, the utilities. Some of you I've excused on that one, but the apartment, utilities, and then the lease agreement. Please get those things done, okay? They are going to close tonight because they've been open for a very long time. Because tomorrow or next week, we're going to be doing some talking more about something you've already done, which is creating a resume and a cover letter. But I want to show you my personal one and then talk to you guys about how, and that resume as a teacher got me into 9 interviews. Okay, so it's not like I never got a phone call. I had 9 interviews in person with somebody based on that resume. But one of the things, so at least I got a kick in the door. And then that same resume got me 3 other job interviews as a financial analyst. I just changed a couple things as we went through. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. But work on those exit tickets, please. Work on everything else that you come due to me. And it's an easy day today, okay? It's the day before Halloween. You're going to get all sugared up anyways. Hopefully you guys will have some type of celebration. If you do, wear a mask. Keep your, I'm going to pull that up, by the way. Keep your distance like the governor of California has requested for Thanksgiving parties, and then go from there. Any questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Okay, so get things done. If you have zeros going in after this week, just remember I will play back this video for your parents or guardians, saying how I gave you 40 minutes to do stuff in class to get it done. You good, Macy? Okay, just making sure. Okay, Scott. Yeah. Okay. Hold on, let me pop this over real quick. Huh? Sure. You can take the little girls one if you want. All right, so that's it for the stream. Do the work. Tyler, if you're on there, try to get those things done, bud. I'll see you soon.
My dad's a teacher at Great Parks.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good, it was